Okay, peeps, take two. Blimey, this whole everybody on the internet malarkey is a struggle. Everybody is streaming live, and because everybody's streaming live, the internet is like going boo! So I heard somebody say that it's held together with sticky tape and bubble gum at the moment, and that's kind of what it's like. So we've rebooted, we've reconfigured, we've checked our download and our upload speeds, and it looks like it's okay. So I am going to say 100% sorry to those of you. Let me do my intro again. Hello, my name is Bess. You're at You Create Art at Home. This is your online art studio, and today we are going to be doing our Jolly Giraffe. So we are having to start again because of that terrible lagginess, and so hopefully you haven't gone and had your dinner and you're still sat there with your paints and you want to get going. So I'm just going to assume that you're going to keep going. I won't delete the first one because that included the drawing, but let's just have a quick recap. We've done this oval giraffe shape, which is a bit like a heart, except for it doesn't have a dip in the middle, and it's down at a point. Then we did two leaf shapes either side for the ears, and then we needed to create a kind of backwards C here to create the horn area, a lump at the top of the head and another one, and that shape there that joins into the ears. After that, we did our long giraffe's neck, and that's about where we've got to so far. So I'm hoping that you're all starting to come back in. Let me know how it's going for you. I'm looking up at it. I can see it's missing a few frames, but I think we'll try and plow on. I can see my mouth is slowing and jumping. But hopefully we're going to carry on. Okay, so what I want to do is we want to focus on the giraffe's mouth. Now, obviously, the giraffe has a very, very pointy mouth, normally on the side, but this is front on, okay? So we are going to do a circle. We're going to spin. I'm going to rub out that neckline there. And I want you to spin your pencil to get a circle. And I want the circle to be as wide as the neck. And then at the top of that circle, I want you to do two more circles. Okay? So you've got one circle and you've got two circles. Now, at the top of that circle, we're going to dip it in the middle and join the top of the other circle. So around the top, dip in the middle, and round the top of the other one. Now, as you go around the corner, I want you to come straight to the big circle. Round the corner and straight in. Round the corner and straight in, and find where you've done your big circle. Now you can draw round and around, join up at the bottom, and that is going to be your mouth area. So you can rub out all of your spinny lines. And I'm going to rub out those other little circles. Like that. And we're going to put in, I would say it's like a teardrop. So this is the nostril one side, teardrop the other side. So it goes into a point. It's rounded up there, goes into a point. There's your two nostrils. And then we're going to put a really nice smiley mouth. Awesome. He's looking lovely. I'm going to rub out the top guideline of my head because I've done the head now. So this is where we start to shape him up. And we need to put in an inside line to the ear. So I'm going to follow the outside of the ear, but I'm just going to go inside and I'm going to bring it to the middle. And the same on this one. So we're going to follow the shape of the outside ear, but go inside and bring it to the head there. Rub out any other guidelines that you've got, because the more guidelines that we can rub out, the better it will be when we paint. Okay? So those guidelines help us to create the best drawing we can. And then once we've got it, we can rub out any of them ready for painting. Okay, so let's put in our eyes. Now in this drawing, the eyes are on either side of the head. So it's an archway. So we go across, and then I want you to do an archway up. You can make the eyes as big and as beautiful as you want. Let me just check that that's, because I'm drawing on the side, I need to make sure that they're the same width. That's too wide. It's easier for you because you'll be drawing straight in front of yours, but when I draw on the side, it means I have to just amend my angle. And now we want to do 2 circles. So the first circle is the iris colour, and the second circle will be our pupil. First circle is the iris colour, second circle is the pupil. He's looking pretty cute. Okie dokie. Then finally, before we start painting, I want you to put your patterning in. Now, as you know, a giraffe has an irregular pattern that goes all the way down his body. So you can make this pattern shape however you want. They're quite large, and where you have a small gap, you might have a smaller one. You need to make sure they don't touch, because this pattern inside is the base colour. Now we're doing ours a rainbow colour. If you wanted to do it natural, you can. The back of the giraffe is a pale fawny, which means light brown colour. And then these big giraffe spots are more like a golden, rich, dark brown, almost like a red brown. Okay, so if you want to, and you want to do a natural colour, then you can. The other thing that's important to know is as the giraffe pattern goes down the neck and across the body, the pattern gets larger. So we have smaller little squares at the top of the neck, and we'll do some small ones on the face, and then they get larger as they go down. So I'm going to do a couple of small ones here, just on the cheek. And then once I finish my drawing, I'm going to ask you, how are you getting on? Have you got any questions? Would you like to pop them in the chat box and I can answer them before we start our painting, okay? So I'm just doing some random little shapes just on the face, up round the top of the head, and that is our drawing nearly completed. So let me have a look in the, hi Beck, Beck's here with her 5.5-year-old, how do you pronounce that? Ezra, beautiful name. And she says, hi darling, how are you? I think we've got Thomas on as well, and Thomas is new to painting, like you probably. So, and welcome Thomas, I hope you are enjoying yourself painting your wonderful giraffe. Do you know Thomas? My eldest son is also called Thomas. I have a Thomas, a Daisy and a Harry. And Daisy's here painting with me today. Come and say hello, Daisy. Daisy is about to turn 12. This is my beautiful Daisy. And she's so arty. She's in the school advanced art program, aren't you, Daisy? Yeah. Yeah. So I often ask her to come and join me because she loves her art and she's a great little drawer and a great little painter. Okay. Well, if you're ready to paint, let's get started. Now, I am using watercolors today, but you might be using acrylics, or you might be using coloured pencils, you might be using crayons, or you might be using acrylic paint. None of those things are wrong. Just because I'm using these doesn't mean that's what you have to use. The whole point about art is we can be adaptable. We can use what we have at home, and you can create just as good paintings as Karen. Now, what's important, kids, is that you make your own choices. This is your artwork. So if you want your giraffe to be pinks and purples, then you make it pinks and purples. If you want your giraffe to be real colour, make them real colours. Just ask Mummy if you can have a look at a picture of a giraffe on her phone and you can colour those colours. Or you can copy me. I don't mind, okay? But to start off with, on my giraffe, we're going to have him as a yellow background, or his body in the background is going to be yellow. So I'm going to start off and I'm going to load my brush. Let me show you how I do that. When you're using watercolors, you need to get a nice wet brush and you rub it over the watercolor, which is dry, a couple of times until, can you see my brush has got lots and lots of paint in it now? So I'm going to start at the top and I'm just going to start by painting all of that body. In a minute, we're going to add some dark color. But to start with, I'm just going to go right around with the yellow, which means I have to go really trickily around all these little small bits. And if you're using a texter, my goodness me, it's going to take you a little bit of drawing, but that's okay. If I finish mine before yours, you can finish it tomorrow. It doesn't matter, does it? Don't be anxious. Don't be worried. We all do things at different speeds, and that's perfectly fine. Now, if you don't have watercolors at home, you can make them, you know. So I want to show you something. You see these here? These are my jars of homemade watercolors. What's in those jars, kids? Inside those jars are the empty centerpieces of felt tip pens, or texters as we say in Australia. And when I have texters here at the art studio and they run out and the kids say to me, Bess, they don't work anymore, can I chuck it in the bin? I say, no, don't chuck it in the bin. And I break them out, I break them in half, and I take the centerpiece out, and then I put them in a bottle with water, and you make your own watercolors. It's a really fun experiment, and the kids love it. They're very inky, they're almost like using ink. So you don't have to rush out and go and buy watercolors. Often you can make beautiful, beautiful colors. I tell you what's amazing, I've got it here. Look at the color of this. This one here has been made with pink highlighter pen. So sometimes you can use office supplies to create the same things. They don't last forever because you get dust in them. Well, I guess if you had a lid on them, they'd be okay. But I haven't got a lid on mine. So after a while, I get a few spiders and a bit of dust. So I have to throw them away and start again. All right, so I'm going around my face of my giraffe. I'm making sure I'm not painting his mouth because that's going to be a darker area, okay? So you can see he's coming on beautifully. Is he a he or is he a she? Which one is yours going to be? I think mine might be a little girl. What about yours, Daisy? Girl. We've got two girls here. Thomas, is yours a little boy? Yours might be a boy giraffe. Okay, so exactly the same. It's like painting a map now. I need to keep my big square shapes from being painted, and I'm just going round them, going down the neck, around the shapes. There we go. So it's a funny day. Everybody is so excited in Brisbane because the sun is shining and we're out of lockdown. So my children, well, I've had Thomas, my eldest, who's 14, went off with his friends and went to the skate park on his scooter. Harry, who is my youngest, and he is 10, he's had a play date with a friend and a sleepover, and Daisy's been off with her friend. So most of the day, me and their dad have been home on our own, which has been quite strange. Having spent so many weeks together in lockdown, now it was just us two today. So we had a lazy lunch brunch. And actually then I did some work. Shh, you mustn't say that at weekends, but I did. And so did David, but that's okay because it gave us a bit of headspace and a bit of peace and quiet. All right, how are you doing with your yellow, Daisy? Good. How are you guys doing? Thomas, you're doing a boy, Thomas. Good job. Helen says, we'll join you later for the rainbow giraffe. No problem. We'll do this one with your granddaughter. Great idea. I'm sure she will love it. And you know what? If you're an adult and you want to practice using watercolors, doing these larger scale children's pictures are a really good way for you to practice with the materials. So there's no shame in having a go yourself, okay? I told that to my mum. I said, Mum, just do it. The more you practice, the more different styles you do, the more you challenge yourself, then the better you become, let's be honest. Okay, now, my beautiful giraffe I'm going to call her Mabel. Mabel the giraffe is going to have blue eyes. And the colour is that second. You know when I said that's the iris? Well, that's the bit of the coloured eye. Maybe you want to make them the same colour as your own eyes, or you might want to make pink eyes. You can choose whichever colour you want for your beautiful giraffe. I've just gone with blue. Here's an interesting fact, children, you might not know, but Karen actually has, or I should say Bess, but my name is Karen. I actually have two different colour eyes. I have one that is green and brown, and one is more green and blue. But I have a bit of brown in my eye that isn't in the other eye. Okay, now, once you've done all that, we're going to put some darker. It's called a contrast, or it adds a bit of, it's a very posh, arty word, but it means dimension. And what it does, it helps the animal look a little bit fatter, like it has. So if I show you, look, underneath my neck, can you see how I've got shadow? And if I do this, can you see how I get wrinkles? And you can see here I've got a shadow, and there I've got a shadow. So it helps me look like I'm round. So we want to do the same with our giraffe. So I'm using a little bit of, I've got a colour called ochre, which is like a golden brown colour. And I'm also putting a tiny bit of orange. And I'm going to paint it inside the ear. And that's going to make it look like it's hollow. So there's some shadow there. I'm going to do it on both of the ears. And you can decide how dark you want to make it. You could use brown. And if you're painting a completely different colour, you might want to use whatever colour like if you're doing pink and purple, you might decide to do pink or purple. The top of my horny area, I'm just doing a dark brown. Again, kids, you choose. What would you like your giraffe to look like? Okay? And I'm going to put a bit of that colour on this bit. This bit's often hairy. So I'm not trying to stay in the lines. I'm kind of just going a little bit hairy like that. Beautiful. Now this nose area is somewhere between this colour and this colour. So I'm going to start off doing it lighter, and then I can always paint it darker if I want to. But I don't want it to be the same colour as the yellow giraffe. So I'm going to start off with this light golden yellow colour. And then I think I'm going to add a little bit of dark brown till I get the right colour that I want. And this is the advantage of having watercolours, is that you can play around with the colour because they mix. Acrylics do exactly the same, but you just want to use not very much paint. So you don't want it to be super thick so that you can move the paint around and create the colour that you want. So that's about the colour that I want. And I'm just going to put a bit of that dark brown just in the very insides of the ear. So that's the darkest fold just there. Now the fun starts, because now I am going to paint my giraffe with whatever colour I want. So if you want to copy me, feel free. And if you've got your own ideas of where the colours are going to be, you go ahead. So I'm going to do 2 or 3 of each colour. So I'm going to start off with a blue. And so when my husband and I got married, we went on a very, very big honeymoon. It started off as a 12-month honeymoon and ended up into 3 years, which sounds a little bit crazy, I know, kids. But we were traveling and exploring the world, and we were having the most amazing time. And we went to Africa, and we went to see the giraffes. We saw the giraffes and the zebra and the lions. It was incredible. They're so tall. So tall. And I had seen them in the zoo, like at Sydney Zoo I've seen them, Tongariro Zoo, and I've seen them in London Zoo. But when you, pardon? And Dubai, yep. But when you actually see them in the wild, and they're as tall as the trees, their necks are huge. And out of their neck comes this long, great, big black tongue. tongue. It's about as long as my arm. No joking. It is huge. Huge! And they're so, I don't know, they just look so graceful and elegant. You know, there's something very beautiful about a giraffe. You almost want to speak like that because they're so, I don't know, like they know everything. I feel like they know everything. And I don't know if that's true. But you know how when you watch The Lion King, they've all got different characters, haven't they? And those horrible hyenas, they're going to have a voice like that. Yeah, yeah. Because they're spiteful. Well, I think a giraffe has a very low, slow, knowing voice. Daisy's looking at me going, Mother, that's okay. I don't mind. She's used to me. Are you used to me? What voice? Okay, Daisy, what voice for a monkey? Daisy's an actress, by the way, in training. So she should be pretty good at this. Just saying.
What do you want me to say?
I don't know. Say, my painting is fantastic, like a monkey.
My painting is fantastic.
It is fantastic, Daisy. You are correct. My painting is... Okay, I'll do one and you have to guess the animal. Okay. My painting is fantastic.
Either a hippo.
It's a hippo! Check me out. Okay, this one is for Tom and this one is for Ezrael. You have to guess and you have to let me know what you think this one is. I'm going to try and do it without making a face, otherwise I'll give it away. This painting is fantastic. Let's see if they guess that. Don't you say, Daisy? We'll see if they can guess what that might be. All right, so I've done a couple of red spots. I'm going to do a bit of green, I think. It needs to... I can't wait to see what colour choices you're making, kids. So I'm just putting these beautiful colours. He's such a happy little giraffe, isn't he? Okay, green one. And as you can see, I'm putting the colours, some down the bottom, some at the top, some at the left, some at the right. And you need to do this to get a bit of balance, yeah? And it just helps the colour story, so the colours balance a little bit. You don't have to. You can put them wherever you want, but sometimes if you put one thing on one side, it's good to have the same colour on the other side. It just helps a little bit. Okay, I'm going to pick this beautiful colour now. I've got a colour that's a bit like peacock. Oh, I've got a drip there. Look, if you have a drip, don't panic, kids. Just get a cloth and just dab it off. All right, just dab it off. Never, never panic. And anyway, it's only artwork. We don't need to be too stressed by it. Just going to overpaint a bit of yellow because it dripped a little bit of green. And that's okay. There we go. I better turn around and see if they've guessed yet. What do you reckon? I reckon they would have. A snake! It is a snake! Well done, Thomas. You guessed. That's because I'm a Harry Potter fan. Okay, so I'm just doing this beautiful peacock green. So peacock green is like greeny blue colour. Then I feel like I need to have an orange, perhaps is my next colour. You kind of need to look at it and see, oh, because it looks like I've got quite a lot of cool colours, and cool colours are the watery sea colours. So I've got lots of green and blue, so I need a bit of hot colours, the fire colours. So I'm going to pick orange next. Let's get an orangey one up there. One here. And once we've done these spots, then we're going to do our background. And I tell you what, kids, you can go wild on your background, excuse the pun. I'm going to show you how to do some leaves, but you might decide that you actually want to put in, I don't know, the African savanna. Savannah is the name of the landscape of Africa. You might want to do that. You might want to make it into a sunset. Or maybe it's at nighttime. You might want to make it into nighttime. So you can choose. I'll show you what I'm going to do. But if you want to do something different, then yes, yes, yes. Please go ahead, okay? You choose what colours you would like. Okay. Now I think I'm going to try and find one more colour. I have got a pink I'm going to use. Really depends what colours you've got, doesn't it, on your tray. I'm going to use a pale pink here. Or if you're mixing colours, if you're using acrylics like Thomas, you can make your own colours, can't you? You can mix whatever colours you want. And that's the fun part of art, I think. Sometimes when you create and design things yourself, and you're not quite sure how it's going to work out. I'm going to do another one there. And I feel like that purpley red colour here should be at the bottom. So I'm just repeating that colour there. And I got one little space at the top here, and I'm thinking, what is that going to be? What do we think, Daisy? I might do this golden brown colour. All right, so that's my giraffe all painted. The only thing that isn't painted is his pupils, the insides of his eyes. So I'm just going to get some black, and you want to make sure it's not dripping, because you don't, well, yours might be on a table, so it might not drip like mine, but because mine's up in the air, it does run a bit if I have too much water on my brush. And obviously watercolour has water in it, silliness. Okay, so I'm just putting in those black pupils like that. My goodness, he looks so cute. And because she is a girl, I'm going to give her some eyelashes. Thomas, if you're doing a boy, you might decide that you don't want to give lashes, but you choose, okay? I mean, girls and boys both have lashes, so if you want to, you can. And then I'm going to put the nostrils in, so I'm using the black for the nostrils. If you want to use a colour, you can. If you want to use brown, you can. But I'm doing mine nice and black. And then I'm going to go over my mouth with the black as well. Cute. Now to make this stand out, I am going to go round mine with the black line. If you are a bit worried about this, it would be very easy to do using a felt tip pen or a texter once it's dry, okay? So that's entirely up to you. You don't have to do this at all. If you want to, you can. It helps the picture to stand out, but you don't have to, okay? So I'm just going to go round my lines using the black. The good thing about using watercolours is they dry super quickly, so it kind of allows you to do one colour over the top quite quickly. You have to go careful around the eyes. But you can just see, just adding that black line just helps all those colours pop a little bit. If you've got a hairdryer at home, you can dry your painting. And if you dry your painting, then you could use a black felt tip pen or a Sharpie. I did a painting class this morning for some friends in the UK, a load of ladies in the UK, And I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, I didn't. I started painting at 4 a.m. But I got up at 3:30. But I was saying to them that we used a black line on their painting. And I said, well, if you're not comfortable, just use a texter, a felt tip pen. And a couple of them did. And they sent me their pictures and they were brilliant. You know, we don't have to feel, just because I'm doing something, you mustn't feel that you have to do exactly the same. I'm here to guide you and to show you that actually you have an amazing amount of genius right inside your own brain and at the end of your own fingertips, and all I'm doing is showing you how to get it out. Because you guys are so clever. And often we just don't know how clever we are. All right, here we go. I'm just going down the neck. Daisy, you're black lining yours? Yeah. And then I've got to do my kind of jigsaw puzzles. They're a bit like jigsaw puzzles, aren't they? These things on the spots. I do like a giraffe pattern. Okay, nearly done. And you don't have to be too precise because you're just going around. Okay, so that's all my black lining done. And now I'm going to do the background. Now, you might not be at the same speed as me. That's okay. At the end of the day, I want you to have some tea in a minute. So I'm just going to carry on painting and you can carry on listening because the background is super easy. I'm going to do what's called a ombre effect. And an ombre effect is when one colour blends to another colour, blends to another colour. So I am going to start off with this beautiful purpley red. And I'm not going to make it too dark. So I'm going to use the water to keep it nice and light and nice and thin. Now it is a little bit difficult because I'm only using just regular copy paper like you guys at home. And if you put too much water on it when you're using that sort of paper, it's going to get soaking wet really quickly. And it sort of changes the colour. But that's okay because it dries super quickly as well. But I'm going to work nice and fast so you can see what I'm doing. Right underneath that, I'm going to do a darker colour. So this is like a purpley colour, look, can you see? And I'm just going to move that around so that I'm trying not to paint really thick, remember? I'm just creating a really soft, colourful background. But like I say, if you want to, and you want to draw palm trees or African trees, or you might want to draw another elephant in the background, giraffe in the, well, you might want to do an elephant. You might want to do a giraffe in the background. You can take as long as you want to do that, all right? So I've done this maroony colour at the bottom. Then I've done the reddy pink, I guess you'd call it, burgundy colour. And then at the top, I'm doing a paler colour. So the ombre is the blend from one colour to another. So I've just got to go around the ears, around the top bit of his head. You could make it rainbow colour if you wanted to. You could paint the background black if you wanted to. You can choose all of that yourself. It might be nice as a sunset, you know, when you've got oranges and reds, that might look pretty beautiful as well. So they are my three colours. I'm just make sure that they blend nicely, which I have done. And now I'm going to put on some beautiful leaves. Now, to get the leaves, I don't want to use as much water. And I'm going to try and use the same colours that I've put on here. So I'm going to start off with a beautiful green leaf. And if you want to just stop and watch me, I'll show you. So I'm going to start off the paper and I'm going to go right up. And then I'm going to fan it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And as I go down the bottom, I'm going to make my leaves get bigger and wider. And these are going to be our lovely sort of tropical palmy looking trees. If you want to do something different on your background, of course you can. You might want to do patterns, hearts, whatever you want. It's your painting. Or you can follow me and have a go at what I've done. Okay, I'm going to switch colours. I'm going to go for a navy blue because I haven't used navy blue. And I'm going to do another palm leaf that goes this way. And 1, 2. Flick it off, going from the centre, flicking it out and just making it a little bit longer. From the centre, flick, 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 flick. You can do as many or as little as you want, okay? It's your picture. You get to choose how many you do. I'm going to do one more leaf over here, so I'm all the way up. So this is actually the same colour as that. But instead of it being watery, I've got lots of paint on my brush, which means the colour has come out really brightly, hasn't it? And this leaf, I've just changed the shape a little bit and I've flicked it out. And finally, I'm just going to do some swirly patterns just in the background, just for a bit of fun. And I think, Daisy, I think this little giraffe needs a bow in her hair. So I'm going to give my giraffe a bow. Let's move that thing out the way. And I'm going to give her a nice bow in the top of her, right on her horn. Now she definitely looks like a girl. Yours is a boy? That's awesome. We've got a mummy and a daddy. There you go. And that, kids, is Karen's Jolly Giraffe. I'm sorry about the Wi-Fi at the beginning, but that's life. That's technology. Sometimes things don't quite go to plan. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've enjoyed it, please take a photograph of your gorgeous painting. Pop it in the chat box for me so I can see. And we create this fabulous gallery for us all to enjoy. Let me know perhaps what you would like to do another time. The more information you give me, the more Karen can make art classes to suit you. Maybe you'd like to do a unicorn or a space rocket or a tall ship that's an old pirate ship. I don't know. Whatever ideas you've got, put it in the chat box for me, kids, and then I can plan that in for our paint and picnics going forward. I will be back, let's have a look, in an hour's time, ready for another giraffe. And our next giraffe, let me just get this one for you. Whoops, trip over my own art studio. The other giraffe is going to be a bit like this. So this was our rainbow elephant, and our rainbow giraffe is going to go alongside our rainbow elephant. So that's at 7 o'clock. You are very welcome to pop in. If you've enjoyed this, please share it with your friends. Let your school friends know at school that I'm here every weekend. Let your friends and family and share your art with them so that they can tell you how clever you are. On that note, let me share your daisies with you. Daisy. Look at this face. That's better. Daisy, that's gorgeous. Yay! Well done. I hope you've had a lovely, lovely time. Thank you so much. If you've popped in on the replay, let me know that you came on the replay. Let me know how your art goes. Just because I'm doing it live doesn't mean you can't enjoy it at the time to suit yourself. I will see you next week, kids. Have a lovely weekend. Bye.